Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the RTI and VR2 Recruiting Podcast. We appreciate you tuning in to another episode here of the podcast. Want to get this one out early in the week since there's a lot to talk about coming off the weekend, and it's that heavy recruiting time of the season now. It's getting a lot closer to the earliest signing period. We're hitting the ground running, guys. I'm here with Matt Ray and Brandon Martin, both of VR2. So we have the full contingency of the RTI and VR2 Recruiting Podcast here for this edition of the podcast. Guys, let's get right into it here. Tennessee had a busy weekend on the football field. Tennessee got the win they needed against Vanderbilt, 28-10, to snap that 3-game losing streak and to win their 5th straight game of the season, to improve to 7-5 after a 1-4 start, which is just highly impressive. Tennessee had a lot of guys coming in on visits this weekend, and we mentioned a few of them in terms of kind of interesting ones over the last podcast with Brandon and I. But Matt, there were a couple of guys who we were talking about that were intriguing names to watch out for their visiting that actually didn't even make it in to Knoxville this weekend. Who were those two guys that fans were anticipating coming into Knoxville who didn't actually end up making it?
Yes, a lot of folks were anticipating Desmond Tisdall and Len'Neth Whitehead to both come in, 4-star athletes out of the state of Georgia. We included on our visitors list on Friday that Tisdall probably wasn't going to make it in, weighing 50-50 on where he was going to go. Seemed like Tennessee wasn't going to get that visit, still going to get the official visit. Whitehead, he was always pretty tentative, but it really just came down to if he was able to work everything out, and he wasn't able to make that happen.
That's unfortunate with both Tisdall and Whitehead not being able to make it in. Does that hurt Tennessee's chances with either of these guys? And I know Tisdall was it seemed like a last-minute decision to come visit this weekend. He still, I think, has his official visit scheduled. What about Whitehead and all that? Does this hurt Tennessee's chances with either one of these guys?
No, I don't think it hurts Tennessee's chances with either one of these guys. I talked with Desmond Tisdall's dad last night, and we've already released this in our Insider Notebook, so I can go ahead and put this out there. Tennessee's going in home tomorrow. Heard back from him late last night. Tennessee's going in home tomorrow. That'll be Kevin Scher. Tennessee's really made Tisdall a priority, whereas Auburn has made him a priority, not made him a priority, made him a priority, not made him a priority. So it's just kind of been hit or miss with Auburn. Tennessee offered late, and I know we talked about that on a podcast, but just the fact that when they offered and they've stayed on him has meant a lot. Whitehead, no, I'm not going to say it hurts their chances. He is really, really tore on the recruiting process right now. It's really weighing on Len'Neth Whitehead right now. He's still got the opportunity to take some official visits to schools. UCLA could still get an official visit. It's not that far from Athens to Tennessee. As of right now, Tennessee is communicating heavily with him. He's scheduled for a call tonight with a majority of the coaching staff, offensive and defensive. Again, that's how big of a priority that he is. And then tentatively, the in-home visit for him this week is set for Thursday. Right now, he's still planning to announce on December 18th, and all indications are still that Tennessee is in the best position here. South Carolina, obviously some staff departures already. That's not going to help them down the stretch, I don't think, if he chooses to play running back. But Tennessee's the stable staff right now. UCLA could pull something off, but again, is one official visit going to be enough? If so, then he was probably never too set on any of these schools around the Southeast. So I think Tennessee's still in really good shape with both of these guys. Getting them back on campus again would be another boost, but these in-home visits go a really long way too.
Yes, they absolutely do. As terms of who all is heading or did make it to Knoxville this past weekend, they still have quite a bit of visitors here in Knoxville, a few guys who are committed to Tennessee in this class, a few more who obviously are big targets to Tennessee. Matt, who did end up making it in, and who are some of the, you don't have to go through the whole list obviously, but who are some of the most notable guys who did end up making it in, and have you all have a chance at VR2 to catch up with any of those guys as far as some of the big names?
Yeah, we have had a chance to catch up with some of the guys. One other notable name I'm pretty sure that was scheduled to make it in, Brandon, correct me on this if I'm wrong, Marcus Henderson was originally slated for an official visit this weekend, right?
Yeah, Marcus was originally slated for an official, and I think he wound up not making it in either.
Yeah, he didn't make it, and may not take a visit. He's not very sure where things are with Tennessee and what's going to happen there. Guys that did make it in, we'll start with Reginald Perry. Have an interview coming out with him a little later. Defensive tackle out of Alabama, big kid, mobile, about 6'6", 6'5", 300 pounds. Plays defensive end, defensive tackle. Plays a little bit of tight end. Plays basketball on a nationally ranked team. So very athletic kid, a lot of upside. He made it in. He really enjoyed his visit. Not a big talker. Didn't give a whole lot of information. The key was that he was not going to take any more visits before deciding. He still has official visits to use. So to the best of my knowledge, he still at least has a couple of official visits to use. But that's an interesting note. Tennessee seems like they're in a really good spot there. Morven Joseph has been a hard one to tie down. He's become a fan favorite. He looks like he's carved out of a piece of granite.
Yeah, he looks like Roman Harrison 2.0.
He does. He's a tackling machine. Plays on a big school in Florida. Another prospect that Tennessee has really prioritized. He enjoyed his visit, but it's been a struggle to get anything out of him so far. And I know he's overwhelmed. I know Mondays are usually tough. If you can catch guys in between flights on Sundays, sometimes get them to text you back or get on the phone. I normally don't go out, to the airport and do that type of thing. I'm not going that far on the reporting side of things. But he's been hit or miss. He enjoyed his visit. He really likes what Tennessee has to offer. Scheduled to do an interview with him tonight, so could have more there. But yeah, nice. Tennessee's up there. I mean, it's going to be tough. Lakeland has been really good to Florida, Florida State as well. I mean, it's tough to get those kids out of the state. Tennessee has, some cards that they can play. The early playing time. The appeal to play outside linebacker for Jeremy Pruitt is there for a lot of these guys. So it's going to be tough to go down there and pull him out of the state of Florida, but they're giving it their best effort. And, we're going to see he's scheduled for an official visit to Florida this weekend. A little bit of a sour relationship there, but Florida's trying to rebuild that. So we'll see what happens. The other guy that made it in that I thought was noteworthy to talk about was I'm sorry, name just left me.
That's fine. If we can come back to it if you want to. I was going to talk a little bit about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't know why the name just left me. Nazir Stackhouse, Georgia defensive tackle commit. Kind of snuck in on campus. Surprised people. Tennessee is very much in this recruitment suddenly. We will release a full interview with him tonight as well. Tracy Rocker has caught some flack for his recruitment of Jay Hardy, not bringing in an elite defensive lineman so far. Stackhouse fits the mold of being an elite defensive lineman. He's planning an official visit to Tennessee. He's not signing until February. Tennessee, I'm not going to say that they're going to be able to overcome Georgia, but Tennessee is very much in the mix here because of that long-standing relationship with Tracy Rocker. I talked to a couple of Georgia insiders today, and just want to see where he was at with their class, and he is still, in fact, a take in the Georgia class. So that's pretty interesting. It's going to be a Tennessee-Georgia battle down the stretch as he kind of feels like the Vols are the biggest threat to get him away. So we'll see what happens there, but that's another noteworthy visitor that most people aren't aware of getting to campus. So he's a name to watch, at least going into the late signing period, which is going to, seem very flat, I guess is the word for it. It's not going to be a lot of hype around that signing period, I don't feel like. But, there's another name to at least watch. Yeah, so that's not you mentioned a case of he's still ready to take for Georgia, so it wouldn't be a case of him getting the get shirt and all this sort of stuff. It'd be a case of if Tennessee pulled it off, they would actually have flipped a player that Georgia wants. So they would, the Bulldog fans wouldn't be able to go, we didn't want him anyway. There would definitely be a case where Georgia wanted him. So that's interesting. That's a very good note. And if y'all aren't already subscribed to VR2's Insider Notebook and all the stuff they do. You should definitely do that. They have good content, and just their site in general, VR2.site, just fantastic stuff. They do great reporting over there at VR2. Of course, Matt and Brandon are two of the main guys over there. Brandon, I'm going to ask you a question here. I've seen a lot of people talking about Amari Thomas, Tyler Barron. I saw a picture as we're recording this today of Tyler Barron, the Kentucky coaches, Mark Stoops, and them visiting Barron, visiting the high school over here in Knoxville, seeing him. How are we feeling now with a few more days removed since last time we did a podcast, and with the weekend happening, and now with the visiting period happening where coaches can go see players and stuff? How are we feeling both about Barron and Thomas? Are we feeling better about either one of them, or are we feeling worse about one of them? Where are we putting the gauge, the temperature at for both Barron and Thomas?
I feel about the same with Tyler Barron. He is, like we talked about, all the logic says that Barron should come to Tennessee. That's where everything points to. Kentucky wants him badly. I don't know how much Ohio State's still in the picture. I don't know how much Oklahoma's still in the picture. I know those were both factors at one point. I think the scheme thing is going to be something he has got to look into, because I do think he's a more immediate plug-and-play guy as a 4-3 end. I think he fits that scheme better, and they're going to tell him that when they're recruiting him. I may be in the minority here. I know Matt disagrees with me. I would be more surprised if Barron signs with Tennessee than if he doesn't. Now, the flip side of that is I feel better about Amari Thomas than we did the last time we talked. I think Amari Thomas is going to wind up at Tennessee. By the way, Amari just won Mr. Football today. He got that award today, just a few hours ago, so I had a chance to congratulate him. He's enjoying that. And some interesting news out of his teammate, though, and a fellow Mr. Football finalist in that classification was Jabari Small, who has been a long-time Ole Miss commit. And with the firing of Matt Luke, now suddenly Jabari has decommitted from Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Jabari Small and Amari Thomas are very, very close. They're very good friends. They're not just teammates. They're really close. Amari said they were best friends to me when we had spoken. So I know they're close. He came with Amari on his visit to Tennessee. And Tennessee, like we had talked about the last time, has been turning the heat up on Jabari Small. Now with Matt Luke gone, now with him decommitting, the team that had been turning the heat up on him was Tennessee, and you got to think Tennessee's in a really good position there to land Jabari Small if they want him. If Tennessee lands Jabari Small, I guarantee you that only helps their chances with Amari Thomas. I think Tennessee's going to wind up landing both of those guys.
Yeah, that's interesting to me too. The whole Jabari Small thing. I was gonna bring that up actually. You brought it up now, so I'll go ahead and talk about it. Jabari Small decommits. I've had about 3 different people. And I know you all have had people reach out to you and ask the same question too. Now that you've had the firing of Luke over at Ole Miss, there's actually been now 3 moves that have been made in the SEC. There could be a couple more. There could be one that they move on. That we could have maybe Mark Stoops moves on from Kentucky to go somewhere else. You could have another firing here and there. We'll see what happens. But already 3 moves have been made in the SEC. We'll see if there are more that happen. But I've been asked a couple different times. I know you guys have been asked too. Now that Matt Luke's out at Ole Miss, does Tennessee go and try to get involved with some more guys? We already mentioned, Jabari Small was decommitted, so he's no longer an Ole Miss commit. I saw today, as we're recording this on Monday, that a JUCO cornerback named Lakevius Daniel decommitted from Ole Miss. And then on the same day, within hours, I think, of him tweeting out his decommitment, he tweeted out that Tennessee offered him. So some interesting notes there. I'm trying to see when he decommitted. Yeah, he decommitted at about 2:50 Eastern time today on Monday, and they announced Tennessee had offered him about half an hour later. So there's another one to note. But I've been asked a lot about Chris Abrams-Drain, the wide receiver committed to Ole Miss, who Tennessee had targeted for a while. Guys, is Tennessee going to get back and play with him there? I'd been under the impression that maybe even before he committed to Ole Miss that maybe Tennessee had backed off a little bit. But I am curious now that you have the whole head coaching situation at Ole Miss up in the air now. Does Tennessee get back involved with Chris Abrams-Drain?
Tennessee needs another receiver in this class. We've talked about that, and Abrams-Drain is a guy that they did pursue for a long time. They liked for a long time. I know people talked about maybe they backed off at the end, but at the end of the day, Tennessee hasn't landed another receiver yet. I know that they are targeting Theo Jones-Bell. I know they are continuing to try to make that flip, but you've got a guy like Abrams Drain who has now decommitted. You had really been pushing hard for him for a while. I know, again, they backed off a bit at the end, but they were pushing hard for him for a long time. And if you're Tennessee, we talked about they've brought some guys on visits that could play receiver. They're trying to find receivers. Now you've got a guy you liked that's available again. I don't know. I think it's definitely worth looking at. I think Tennessee's at least going to kick the tires again, but I'd be surprised if they didn't turn the heat up on him because they need another receiver in this class. Matt, what do you think?
I'm going to say no. I don't think they're going to go after Chris Abrams Drain. I could be completely wrong about that. I was actually working on that for a little bit, just trying to rebuild that relationship to see if this did happen with Matt Luke. I did not think it was going to happen with Matt Luke, but I'd like to be ahead of the game. I don't think there's anything there. I think Tennessee had a chance with Chris Abrams Drain. I think he was probably pretty well set to become a Vol. Bounced around. It looked like West Virginia was going to get him at one point. Then he ended up at Ole Miss. I just don't see Tennessee getting back in the mix right now. I think if you're going to go after a receiver, one that you're going to have to battle for, I would go after Javian Hester. That's committed to Ole Miss. He's a bigger, or not to Ole Miss. I'm sorry, to Missouri. 6'3", 180-pound, 4-star wide receiver out of the Columbia area. Tennessee's trying to recruit Missouri a little harder. If it's me and I'm going to battle, I'm going to go get another guy that's a downfield threat, which is what I think you need in this class, considering that you're not going to get a Rakim Jarrett. Tennessee was in on some guys that were bigger that could go downfield, win jump balls early on, and they just missed out. I mean, sometimes you just don't win those battles. Tennessee's still trying with Theo Jones-Bell. Kentron Portier is another receiver that has just been completely closed off, being completely quiet. But he's a big frame receiver that they could add. They need a guy, I think, that can go down and go downfield and get the ball, and can bully guys at the line of scrimmage. And I just don't think it's Chris Abrams Drain.
I don't think it will be either, but I am intrigued, by what you said, Brandon. Maybe you at least kick the tires there and you at least contact him and see. But
I think you have to, yeah.
Yeah. I think that Tennessee's receiver position is just going to be very interesting to see what they do here moving forward, because I do think they feel better about the receiver position now than they did at the beginning of the season, with the fact you have Palmer has shown some good flashes as a receiver this year. D'Angelo Gibbs has looked really good in practice. You're getting Brandon Johnson back as a red shirt. So I think you feel better about your receiver position now than you did, back in August and September. So you're still losing so much talent there.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're losing a lot of talent, and a lot of the talent you're bringing back, you've got for one more year.
That's a good point.
I think I don't think Tennessee's in a position to be too overly picky right now.
No, I don't think they can be too overly picky in a lot of positions. I don't know if there's really one you can zero in on and say Tennessee at this point in time with their depth and just they have better talent now than they did last year, obviously, but I don't think with the talent level or the overall depth on the roster, I don't think you can be very picky at a lot of positions for Tennessee right now. Maybe offensive line, because you have a good amount of young guys there. It seems like you have a high ceiling there. But even there, you'd still, obviously look at this class. Tennessee's taking in a bunch of interior linemen. So even there, you can maybe be picky offensive tackle. But, I don't think there's a lot of positions Tennessee can be very picky on right now in recruiting. Moving along here a little bit to some more news that you guys, you had the scoop on it, which kudos to you guys for that. Tennessee, we mentioned earlier that this is now the time where coaches can go visit players and stuff. We saw Tennessee go in home to go see Cooper Mays. We definitely are going to see them go visit some other commitments and everything here over the next few days and weeks. But they're also going to be going out and seeing some of their biggest targets. One of those, they're going in home to see, Matt, you feel free to talk about this if you want to. I think you're the one who wrote the actual article about it. They're going to go see 5-star tight end Darnell Washington. Obviously the biggest uncommitted targets still left on Tennessee's board that they have a legitimate shot at. Tennessee very much in the mix there. We've talked about this for weeks, that it doesn't seem like Tennessee maybe gets the amount of discussion nationally for Washington as obviously as much as a Georgia or some of the other teams that are involved with him. But I've contended for a while that I still think Tennessee has a better shot than what a lot of people are giving them for Darnell Washington. Matt, this is pretty good news. I think this is obviously not bad news. It's very intriguing news, and I think if Tennessee is still in line to get his final OV, I think this puts Tennessee in a very good spot with Darnell Washington.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, last night I talked to one of Darnell's coaches and one of his mentors at Desert Pines, and he informed me that Tennessee was going in home today. From the sounds of it, it'll be Niedermeyer and Pruitt. Chaney could be there. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But Niedermeyer and Pruitt are staying in Las Vegas and going up to see I think it's Vi Cahoe. They're going up to see him tonight as well. So they're going to be a busy day out there for them. So I'm going to assume it's going to be Niedermeyer and Pruitt this time around, unless Chaney is going somewhere else in the area. I don't think so. But I think it's very good news for Tennessee. I mean, when you look at it, Washington surprised people. He come to campus. He was a surprise visitor for the night game. Then you turn around and he's back at Georgia, and all the momentum seems to fade. Well, now we're to the point that Desert Pines is in playoff mode. Is he going to be able to get back somewhere else for an unofficial visit? Like Georgia, that's a school that he really likes. Heard a lot of chatter about them. Several of the Georgia insiders I talked to about Stackhouse feel very good about Washington. But, again, they know that Tennessee's looming, and they're willing to admit that. They think Alabama's the primary competition, but that's probably the best narrative to spin. But is Washington going to be able to get back somewhere for another official visit, an unofficial visit from Las Vegas? That's going to be tough. Determining when he can come to campus, when he can't, with football still going on. One thing we know for certain is that Tennessee's getting that last official visit. Tennessee could go in home with him again the way things have stacked out. They could actually go in home with him one more time. I do believe that they could go in home with him one more time. I think they get one a week. So, depending on when his official visit is, that they could stack this up and get him one more time before the contact period ends. And that's a pretty good pull of momentum right there. Now Georgia's going to go in home, Alabama's going to go in home, Nick Saban's going to come in home. Now, Iron Bowl loss is what it is, but Nick Saban's not done at Alabama. I mean, let's not even beat around the bush about that. Nick Saban carries a lot of weight when he walks in and sits down. Kirby Smart's another guy, young, energetic recruiter, has done great things at Georgia. So Tennessee's got their work cut out for them, but. Looking back to, it's been very hard to get information out of Darnell Washington. But my buddy Matt DeBerry, who is a writer for Dog Post, has helped me a lot on that side of things, and has actually got us a couple of interviews and one in person with Darnell. Darnell Washington's relationship with Brian Niedermeyer is strong, and it doesn't get detailed enough. It's another one of those that Niedermeyer is going to keep Tennessee in this until the end. Now, can the last official visit win it for the Vols? Like we saw so many go against them when a prospect that's trending their way visits somewhere else last. Can Tennessee pull off the coup here? It'll be tough, but I think Tennessee has a very legitimate shot in getting this in-home visit, which should be his first in-home visit, if I'm not mistaken, is big.
Last thing here, a little bit of thing I'm throwing in here with you guys, just to kind of close out the podcast here. Either one of you who feels like answering this, either one of you has any news or anything you want to share on this one. Is there any latest on Jay Hardy? I saw where he did an interview with TR7 Sports saying he still hears from Tennessee, still hears from the Vols. Obviously, he committed to Auburn in a pretty surprising move about close to a month ago at this point, I guess. It's been a few weeks ago at least. Is there any news updates on that? Obviously, like I said, Tennessee still keeping in touch. Is there any kind of visit schedule updates, or is there anything either one of you guys have any information on Jay Hardy?
If there is a visit, it'll probably be January. From the sounds of it, it will probably be January. Haven't communicated a whole lot back and forth with Jay. It's a busy time, and I have some select rules on how and when I communicate with kids. I mean, like Jabari Small, I'm sure his phone's already been hit up 5, 6, 7 times. But when a kid decommits from a school, I know to some people it doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, it's a lot. I mean, if you've heard the story about Matt Luke getting fired in the in-home visit with DeRicky Wright, DeRicky Wright was tore up. That's the coach he committed to. You're ultimately putting your future in that guy's hands. So, you may be happy and, in the moment that you picked another school, but you're ultimately feel like you're hurting somebody that you care about. So I don't reach out to guys until 48 hours after commitments. State championship week for Jay Hardy, I'm not reaching out. I'll send a text here and there, just check in, ask how he's doing, see if anything new is going on. But other than that, right now it's going to be another week before I have any real intel on Jay. But he kicked around for a while, signing in February, and then he's signing in December. And the thing with him is that kind of like with visit highs, there's a commitment high. It was Tennessee for a long, long time. It really was. It was Tennessee for a long, long time. I'm not going to get into what shifted at the end, what didn't shift, what we think happened, what didn't happen. But Tennessee still, they're still sitting there. They're going to have a chance at this, I think, if they can get him back on campus. And a good thing is if it is January and he doesn't sign, then they're going to get him up there. Guys that he knows, Harrison Bailey's going to be on campus. Cooper Mays could be on campus with him, and some of these guys are already going to be going to school. That's going to be a big opportunity to make the move that they need to make with him. There's just more guys in the Tennessee class that he knows and has a relationship with than there is at Auburn. The opportunities are similar. Can Tennessee overcome this? We're going to have to see. Something went pretty awry the first time around. It sounds like they're going to get a do-over. Hopefully they get it right here.
Well, that'll be interesting. That's going to be one it's not going to be over with anytime soon. Even though he has obviously committed to Auburn, that one's one that's not going to be over with anytime soon. But guys, this has been a little bit of a shorter podcast, but we wanted to get as much information as we could, kind of jam-packed in here. We'll try to do another one this week later on if we can. We'll try to do, obviously, updates, some news and notes and stuff on it, because I'm sure this is going to be a very busy week in recruiting. But guys, I think we're a little overdue for a mailbag episode. So if we all three of us have time, or even just two of us have time this week, let's try to do a mailbag episode for our listeners here, because I'm sure they have a ton of questions that they want answered about Tennessee recruiting now that the regular season's over. But guys, I know you already kind of plugged a little bit of the stuff that you've done. Both Matt and Brandon, feel free here in the closing minutes of the podcast to plug even more stuff that you all have done and have upcoming on VR2.
Yeah, Brandon, tell them about your podcast before we get going. The podcast you and David may do.
If you guys go to our VR2 page, we've got a podcast. My partner David May and I are working on that. It's called Around the South. We don't just look at Tennessee sports on that. We try to look at everything going on around the Southeast as a whole right now. We try to look multiple sports. We try to look multiple conferences. Release that once a week. Usually release it on Wednesdays. Feel free to give us a listen. We would love to have you on there as well. We talk a little bit of recruiting, but a lot of college football, a lot of college basketball, and we try to pull up some things that a lot of your other areas miss. So feel free to give us a listen. That's Around the South. You can find that on our VR2 site. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most any podcast platform you could want to listen to us on.
Yeah, and you can find the rest of our content, like Brandon said, at vr2.site. And we're $3 a month is our premium charge, and we're still giving out a lot of stuff free. You get a lot more premium. You get a lot of early access. We've already released the full slate of in-home visits where most of, several guys, I think around 10 guys that Tennessee's for sure going to see in-home this week. Updates on several top targets, a lot more on Darnell Washington in this, a good bit more on Omari Thomas. It's $3 a month. From now, if you purchase it from now until the end of February, which will get you through signing day, that's $9. So, give us a try. If you don't like it, you didn't even, you spent $9. I feel pretty confident that you're going to like it and you're going to want to carry it into recruiting season, again, into camp season, when new targets start to emerge in the 2021 class. But, give us a try. Sign up for our premium. We do a lot of other stuff. Our Press Box podcast is out there, just an overview of Tennessee athletics. And then we do this with Nathaniel, which we really enjoy. And other than that, I tell everybody consistently, if you need anything, you're able to hit up our inboxes. We usually get back to you pretty fast.
You guys are fantastic over at VR2. They're on Twitter at _VR2_. They have a Facebook, Instagram, as you said, the pay site as well, and the actual website, vr2.site. You can find all the stuff that we do at Rocky Top Insider at rockytopinsider.com. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. A lot of you are probably listening to this actual podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. We do all kinds of stuff. Now that the football season's over, we won't have maybe as much, but we're still going to have plenty of basketball coverage for you. We'll have plenty of bowl coverage and stuff for Tennessee football, practice reports and whatnot as well on that YouTube channel. But we're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, just Rocky Top Insider on all of those. And you can find us for free on rockytopinsider.com. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode. Signing off for both Matt and Brandon, I am Nathaniel. This has been another episode of the RTI and VR2 Recruiting Podcast.